Hello folks, in this video I showed you one of the most broken builds for Falconer that makes you a tanky guy and also have a lot of damage. Let me explain to you how this build works, and it's actually pretty simple to understand. First of all, you need to have some items in your build that provides you a specific prefix that is ward gained when you create a shadow. You only can have this prefix on your body armor, on your helmet, and also in some items that you can drop during your farm. Once you have this prefix, you can go to specializations, activate a smoke bomb for 4 points on Umbral Assault node to have 100% chance to generate shadows. Basically, you will put the smoke bomb in the field and it starts to generate shadows, and for each shadow you will gain some ward, which is this blue protection. The smoke bomb have his own duration in the field. The strategy here is amplified at time, so you can have multiple layers of smoke bomb. How you will do this? On two different ways. First, you need to activate 5 points on the node lingering fumes that will provide more 50% duration for our smoke bomb. And to have a combo with that, we also have the dive bomb tree that provides us the cloud gatherer that we're gonna make 40% more longer once your falcon lands the area inside of your smoke bomb. So if you just use your smoke bomb, you have some shadows and start to get some wards, but everything stops when the smoke bomb goes away. Once you have those two nodes together, you make the smoke bomb infinite time because you can continue using your dive bomb inside of it. So you use the smoke bomb and then use your dive bomb, and you see now my cooldown, it will gonna be over and the smoke bomb still here, and so you can put a second layer and do the same thing to the falcon that will gonna extend the time of the two smoke bombs that are already put in the field. Let's break down the specializations of this build, but I will only talk about the key nodes so that video is not too large and it's not too complicated to follow up. So first of all, with the smoke bomb, we already talked about the Umbral Assault and also the lingering fumes. And to have more interesting, more utility, we also have eroding fumes that we're gonna shred the armor of the enemies. And also we have the knives in the dark that can provide us a little bit more DPS in overall. For Umbral Blades, you have the node Cacophony of Steel that transforms your blade and they start to spin, dealing damage every second to the enemies. To make even more interesting DPS purpose, we also invested 4 points on Burst of Agony, so anytime that blade expires, it will also explode and deal damage in the area. And to make it a perfect combination with this build, we also have the Umbral Remnant. Whenever one of your shadows expire, they now also leave behind an Umbral Blade. Remember that we can have multiple layers of smoke bombs, which means infinite shadow generation, which means infinite Umbral Blades generation. Once we have the Umbral Blades in our build, let's make another combo that time with Aerial Assault and the node Twilight Strike. Anytime that you use this skill, it will throw 6 Umbral Blades in the field, which is pretty insane. You should enable the drops of Caltrops to put some slow on the enemies and help us to build the stacks of aerial prowess for each critical strike dealt by you or your falcon 80 seconds after you use that skill. And it's really simple to do it because you have a lot of hits going on the field. Remember that you have a lot of Umbral Blades dealing damage every second and exploding, and when expires you have your falcon doing some hits. So you have a lot of different ways to do hits and a lot of enemies in the same time, so almost all the time you will have 36 points of these stacks, which results in 72% more damage. The dive bomb is the highest DPS skill on this build, and we already talked about the cloud gatherer, but the magic is down below with the Wings of Shadows, where Dive Bomb now creates a Shadow Fog to track the location of your own shadows. And on top of it, we also have the Dancing Shadows, where the Shadow Fogs will strike a second time inside of your smoke bomb. So what that means is when you use the dive bomb inside of your smoke bomb, you will have 7 hits. The first hit, which is the main one because of your original falcon, then you will create a 3 shadow falcons that will strike once, and then because of the dancing shadows, those shadow falcons created will strike again. To finish, we have the falconry specializations and use a lot of nodes to amplify the overall damage of our falcon, starting with the avian arsenal, following up to is it a bird, and then we have the exposed weakness. We also have the most broken node of the entire specializations of the Falconer tree, which is the bird of prey. Anytime that the enemy have 16% of HP or less, the Falcon strike instantly kills him, and that works against the bosses as well. I will not read each point of the passives because you can do it by your own, but I want to show you that I invested a lot more in defensive abilities. We already have damage enough to do any contents that we want, so the idea is to make it easier and faster to farm the end game and get even better items for our builds. Because of that, I invested a lot on mobility and also things that can help me to be even more tanky. You can see a lot of points invested on mobility. We have 5 points in dodge and parry, 5 points in deflect and weave, 5 points in poison, 4 points in stallion feathers. I'm sorry, I don't know how to spell that. And we also have 5 points in fence and grace, which have more block chance with one-hand weapon. For the items, as explained in the beginning of the video, for helmet and armor, we have the main prefix, which is ward gained when you create shadow. For the shield, I really recommend to you use the cradle of the erased because of the prefix that give block chance per stack of golden edges, and you have 4 stacks in total. Because of that, you will probably get more than 40% of block chance. And you can also be lucky as me and have another prefix of block chance. If you see my build right now, I have 99% of block chance, which make me really strong with that build. And you can have for all the other items, you will look for elemental resistance. As you can see in my build right now, it's only missing some lightning. And if you are struggling with that, you have a specific dagger for it, which is called Dragorath's Claw, that provides resistance for all elements. If I put that right now, you can see all the elements resistance growing up. In my case, I'm already satisfied with what I have before, so I put a dagger thinking of my damage, so I have a lot of multiplications of my damage. In the accessories, you want to use the turquoise because it's the best option for the Falconer build. You don't have nothing better. But all the other items, you should balance your resistance between your damage, your crit chance, your crit multiplier, and etc. It's not a specific thing that you should put to make it work perfectly. You should search for a balance of all of it to make it more comfortable to you. Maybe you prefer to have more damage. Maybe you prefer to have more dodge. Whatever you prefer, you should search for in your prefixes and your suffixes. For the items, it's the same rule. I'm using some critical strike multiplier and also more ways to generate wards for my character. While I'm playing through the maps, whenever the smoke bomb is available, I use it followed by dive bomb, independently if there are enemies or not, because what I want is keep the ward generation running. So I just jump as faster as I can and use Falcon Strike in some mobs until finish the entire area. For the bosses, be in a safe place and stack the shield and damage until you are satisfied and then trigger the boss bomb. Don't forget to strike the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.